the IGH going rogue? Today's Friday, February 21st. Law Enforcement Fridays for those of you that used to follow us back on Battleground. And to make it official, we have Jeff Queen, the co-host of Law Enforcement Fridays, 20-year law enforcement vet, all kinds of degrees, military, homeland security, intelligence, business continuity. I don't even know, bro, but you got them covered in every single way. Welcome, officially kicking off Law Enforcement Fridays again.
Thanks, Ivan. Great to be here as always. This is good stuff.
Yeah, man, and let's start fucking with some fireworks. Cash Patel, man.
Yeah. Going to get grown folks back in charge of the Department of Justice. Maybe we can put some actual bad guys back in jail instead of weaponizing it for going after political opponents.
Yeah, man, this is going to be epic. It's going to be fucking epic, dude. And I can't wait to see Adam Schiff in handcuffs, man, because that guy's a fucking piece of shit weasel.
What a smarmy little dude, condescending, and lied to Congress, right? I mean, that's a felony, and he committed a felony in trying to create and fabricate this investigation and initiate the impeachment proceedings against the sitting president. I mean, what?
That's treason.
How else? How do you explain that other than he weaponized it to go after the Democratic Party's political opponent, chief political opponent?
Dude, that was a coup. You remember, I always said it. Yeah. This is a fucking coup d'etat.
This is exactly Ron what it is. Over on a while back talking about soft coups.
Yep.
This was a soft coup.
Yeah.
This was an attempt at a soft coup to usurp power from a sitting president.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's gonna. If nothing else happens from that standpoint, and it's only Adam Schiff, dude, I'll fucking be so happy.
That's a win. That's a win.
That's a home run, brother. That's a home run, big time win. It would be nice to go get the rest of the pieces of shit, but
And let's remember this now. All right, this is not political payback.
Right.
This is a guy who actually committed multiple felonies. As a sitting member of Congress who needs to go to prison. He has tried to use his public office for personal and political gain, and he needs to go to prison.
And the political gain can definitely be demonstrated, right? Because he was in the House, now he's a senator. So, right. A true piece of shit. There's so many of them, man. The Democratic Party is full of them right now. It was funny the other day. I don't think we have the clip. But on CNN, you had Van Jones, you had Carville, you had a whole bunch of people, and they were all, talking. I think it was Carville, and he said, the problem with the Democrats is we have no fucking men. We've become, the party of no men. And,
right.
Some chick goes, what do you mean? We have plenty of men and blah, blah, blah. And then, the Republican guy goes, yeah, like who? Like Buttigieg? And she's like, was that a gay bashing joke? And he goes, no, I mean, who else do you have? I mean, what men do you guys have? And it was so funny because even Van Jones said, yeah, we've turned into a party where we feminize our men. I mean, who do we have that's strong? I mean, look at Trump, 78 years old. He gets shot, gets up and screams, fight, fight, fight.
Yeah.
Who the fuck do we have on the Democratic Party that does that? We're pushing
You won't
tampons.
have anybody on the Democrats that takes a bullet and gets back up and keeps going.
Nah, fuck no, dude. They're fucking arguing about fucking tampons in boys' bathrooms and fucking trannies in fucking girls' bathrooms. It's fucked up as shit, dude.
Maybe now, little boys, can just start looking down to see what gender they are.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. Versus fucking trying to figure that out. It's bizarre because there was this whole argument, and I saw this great fucking comeback, on X. They were sitting there, saying, Elon's got these 20-something-year-old kids, and, how are they going to have good judgment, and blah, blah, blah. And somebody came back, and I can't remember who it was that tweeted that out, some liberal, and one of these liberal hacks. And somebody responded to him, and he goes, right, a 25-year-old PhD in aerospace engineering is not smart enough, doesn't have good judgment, can't make the right decisions, but a fucking 12-year-old can make a decision to cut off their fucking genitals.
That's exactly right.
Good one.
That's exactly right.
No,
You
dude,
know,
these fucking
I mean,
people are
the
fucking warped.
hypocrisy is just off the charts. I mean, it's been bad, but now, I mean, they just keep doubling down on
Yeah.
these ridiculous
Dude, they're
issues
fucking idiots.
that don't matter to anybody except them.
Yeah. They're fucking retards, dude. I'm sorry. But they
Again,
just are, you know?
real people, real issues.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about this. They care about making their mortgage payment,
Yeah.
right? They care about making their insurance payments. They care about putting food on their table, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you know, what was that we saw the other day where, you know, the Dems were trying to talk about being at the grocery store and they didn't even know what anything costs.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
had no idea what anything actually cost.
Yep. Yep. It's fucking insane, bro. So, you know, obviously you're still plugged in with the LE community. You know,
Yeah.
you have a lot of dear friends. I know you've lost many throughout the years, you know, which is pretty horrible. I was actually, you know, you shared one of them when it happened several years ago, in his family and all that. Just horrible situation.
Yeah.
How do they feel about Trump being back?
I think everybody that I know and have talked to is just excited to try and come back, you know, to some sort of sense of order, right? I mean, we talk about law and order,
Yeah.
but you got to have some sense of order in the universe, you know, and you know, getting away from all of these made up, you know, I guess, you know, liberal constructs. You know, let's get back to you know, real crime and putting real bad guys in jail.
But
And
I'm pretty sure they got to feel relieved. You know, they got to feel
well,
that somebody's got their back again. They're not doing this cancel the police or defund the police bullshit,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No, we you know, I think there's a general sense of improved morale. You know, but you know, again, you got to make sure that your leadership is on board with that too, because what's happened is you've got a lot of law enforcement leaders who were,
Woke.
you know, part of that liberal woke, you know, wokeness, you know, places like Portland and Seattle,
Yeah.
you know, and officers on the street, they've got to feel supported, and so I think there's some slight sense of improved morale, but we got to have a you know, a change in law enforcement leadership. As well.
How do you start that change? How does that work with a election of sheriffs or what?
Well, I
So
mean, yeah, I mean,
that's a fucked up
yeah,
part, right?
sheriff's elected, but you know, I mean, the mayor's elected too, and the mayor appoints a chief of police, and the chief of police serves at the mayor's pleasure. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, you've got to have, you know, this you know, linear order that you have good police management and you have good civilian oversight, you know, in your municipal government. Now, the sheriff, he can do anything he wants because he's elected just like the mayor's elected, and so you know, that's a whole other thing altogether. You know, you've seen oh, I can't think of his name now. The guy down in Broward. You know, and you know, so you got to have leadership that's strong, that's all about law and order and not
Yeah.
about, you know, all of these, you know, progressive issues, and that trickles down.
Yeah.
You know, it trickles down to the line guy, because nobody's more important in your organization than the cop on the beat.
So I guess it must really suck to be in law enforcement in a liberal city.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. You know, thankfully, down here in Alabama, we've got you know, some pretty look. We got a DA that is so pro Second Amendment down here. If you don't have a gun, he'll find a way to issue you one. I mean,
Yeah, it sounds like the
you know,
sheriff up in Central Florida.
yeah, yeah.
He says if you know, if you want to get shot, we're gonna shoot you a lot.
We're gonna shoot you.
Yeah, and we're gonna shoot you a lot, right?
Yeah. Why'd you shoot him 15 times? Because that was all that was in the magazine. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, we had to reload if we wanted to shoot him more than 15.
That's right. That was hilarious, man. And
You know,
and when all the riots were happening, he's like, "Don't come over here. Don't come to our county. You come to our county, you're gonna get shot." He goes,
Yeah.
and you know, and not only do we support our citizens to have a gun, we support them to have multiple guns and know how to use them. And if
Right,
somebody
yeah.
breaks
And that's
into your
important. That's a
house,
great
you
point
blow
to
them
make.
out. Yeah.
You want to have the training. If you're going to have the gun,
Yeah.
you want to have the training.
Yeah.
Go get some training. You can find. I don't care where you are even in a liberal city, if you've got a gun, you can go find a place to get some training.
Talking about that, our old, not necessarily stomping ground because we're from Potomac, but in Bethesda, I don't know if you saw the clips, but there is a like a brawl, probably 10, 15 kids in Bethesda, right next to the CVS by Rex's house, Rex and Kelly's, that neighborhood, downtown Bethesda,
Yeah.
right like 2 blocks away from BCC High School, and a kid pulls out a gun and shoots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, dude. I mean, and this is, the bluest of bluest counties. And
Right.
I heard that all the people were going crazy and they were talking about gun control. And I was like, what gun control? The kid's a minor.
Yeah.
you know,
But and here's the thing, they'll probably try to go after the parents.
yeah. Well, the problem is this, dude, is that in Montgomery County, and I'm glad, Jesse and, David moved, when we moved up there, David had already graduated high school, so we went to Catholic. Hence the mug, and Jesse ended up graduating like us from Churchill. But she was telling me, man, it was just so woke. It was so freaking liberal. They had all these like trans and gay groups and, all this diversity and equity and bullshit training and all this stuff, and you think about it, and Montgomery County, the public school board, they did something where they said they were going to bus kids. They're going to start moving kids from, like let's say Potomac and taking them to, Montgomery Village or Gaithersburg or Silver Spring and grabbing kids from that, mixing them around because they said,
Yes.
we needed to have, the kids needed to have, that kind of experience. And,
That's up to the parents to decide what kind of experience the kids are going to have. If you move to a neighborhood where a school is, then that's the neighborhood where you go, and the
that's right.
school board should
And
have
that's why you pay what you pay, right? You pay what you pay because, there's certain schools that are better than others. I mean, it's not.
That's why you move to those areas, is to get better opportunities for your kids.
Yeah, yeah. So they're trying to do this whole equity crap, and that's what happens. You bus in kids from gang areas, and what the fuck is going to happen? They're going to fucking shoot each other, dude. You're going to start gang wars in the heart of fucking suburbia,
And the astounding thing is how surprised they are when things go off the rails.
Right.
Because all the rest of us can see
Yeah.
this is a bad idea.
Yeah. Super bad idea. Super bad
There's-
idea.
There's so many bad things that can happen. It's like the old, football thing.
Yeah.
There's 3 things that can happen when you throw a forward pass, and 2 of them are bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Same thing when you start trying to play with these demographics and things,
Yeah.
and you're bringing a group of people who don't have the same kind of upbringing, the same kind of education, the same kinds of things, and they're coming from areas that are riddled with crime.
Yeah.
And you suddenly think that because they sat down in a different school, that they're going to change their behavior.
Dude, it's like, liberals, Democrats, they're very, very stupid people, right? I mean, that's beyond a proven fact at this point, right? They think that they can go hug and kiss everybody and sing Kumbaya, like that guy Perlman, who went over to fucking meet with fucking Al Qaeda and got his head cut off
Got his head
on a
cut off,
fucking
yep.
live stream. Because he thought he was going to go talk to them and reason with them. These fucking people cannot be reasoned with, dude. Bad people. The only way to stop a bad person, Jeff, is how?
A strong, good person with a gun,
Yeah.
if there's a gun. But if there's not a gun, then just somebody who can stand up and say enough.
Yep.
And that's what we've got back with President Trump.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we have somebody who's going to say enough of this shit. We've been through all of your bullshit. We've been through all of this stuff that doesn't work. And that's the craziest thing. None of this has worked, and they just keep doubling down on it. Oh, we just got to do more woke stuff. We got to do more woke stuff. We're not doing enough woke stuff.
Well, I think it's backfired. I think it's dead right now. I don't think it's gonna revive. I think these guys are gonna double down in the midterms and give it another shot. even though you hear voices of reason within the Democrat Party saying we got to get away from this messaging, but there's a big group that says no fucking way, we didn't do it enough. And what we should have done is we should have canceled them, and we shouldn't have, we can't let them speak. And they're really doubling and tripling down on this cancel culture, on this fucking repression of the First Amendment. And I think they're going to lose their ass, and maybe then, I don't know, something will happen. But I truly believe, Jeff, that right now the Democrat Party, for the most part, is the party of the waste of society.
Well, I mean, you look at that, what you're talking about, and doubling down, and we got to suppress. Isn't it interesting that one of the biggest defeats they've suffered in history is because they were trying to suppress what is a guaranteed right?
Yeah.
We're not going to let you speak. You can't speak. We got to and again, it's gone too far.
Yeah.
It's gone too far. Yeah. And the American people are tired of it. They're tired of being preached to. And I think what you're seeing with all of these discoveries of the Doge waste, people are going to be even more and more sick. They're going to start jumping on board. Let's get rid of these things that waste this money. Department of Education, IRS, all of these different organizations that are doing nothing but throwing American tax dollars away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people are finally really, I think, waking up to that a little bit and going, holy crap, man, was that really where my money went?
Yeah. See, I don't know if you saw Elon's tweet yesterday, but he said there's hard facts now that prove that most of the money that went to Ukraine came back to the Democrat Party, to politicians.
I'm not surprised.
Dude,
I mean,
Joe
Biden was the leader of that Ukrainian PAC, right?
Of course, dude.
PACK, not PAC.
Yeah.
Although it's both. We've seen how many of his family members are involved in, business deals in Ukraine, right? Yeah. And how much of that trickles back down? I mean, again, anybody with any kind of common sense looks at a legislator and says, all right, you're making $200,000 a year and you had a net worth of, $4 million when you got into office. You're 2 terms in and you're worth $100 million. I'd like to have that investment advisor.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Cory Booker said
you can think that anybody made honest deals.
Yeah.
Out of that kind of an investment.
Look, Cory Booker came out and said, well, the reason, I amassed all this money is because, I charged $2 million a speech. But, by saying that...
Who's listening to him?
But by saying that, he just admitted to breaking Senate rules, which say, I don't know if that's a crime or if it's just a rule, but, I know Senate rules say that you cannot charge for giving speech, as part of, your office.
Right.
So I don't know, bro. There's going to be so much shit that's going to be uncovered on these people, and I bet there's a ton on the right too.
I'm sure there are. I mean, let's not kid ourselves that it's everybody getting into public office. But you go back and you remember the old post office scam, right?
Yeah.
Scandal, where they were, kiting checks, right? And I mean, we've had all kinds of congressional scandals that involve both parties, and huge sums of money.
Yeah, and I read this morning that they uncovered that there are, I can't remember, like over 100 government credit cards in the hands of bureaucrats with a balance of over $40 billion.
I'm not surprised at all.
Can you fucking believe that, dude?
Yeah, not surprised at all. You look at what did Miller said. Stephen Miller said the other day. Talking about we've created this culture. The president has the right to issue executive orders. Bureaucrats do not.
Right.
Right. And yet we've got all of these organizations that are being run by career bureaucrats that think that the buck stops with them.
Yeah.
And that whatever their ideology is, in that organization is how things are going to be run, and now they're outraged, because President Trump is slashing their jobs and saying, get out, you don't matter that much.
Yeah. Dude,
And
it's
that's
absolutely
the
insane.
thing, is that their little individual kingdoms are coming tumbling down.
Yeah, and look, it's what's amazing, right, is how they've been able to convince their sheep
Right.
that what Doge is doing is wrong. Right? They're like, no, dude, these guys are bad. These are bad people. Dude, in any normal situation, if somebody tells you, hey, we're investigating your bank because we think they stole your money, you'd be like,
Yeah.
absolutely. I want to know.
Yeah, get my money back.
Yeah, I want to know where it is. You would never hear somebody go, no, don't investigate. I'm good with all the money somebody stole from me.
I don't need that money back. You just take that.
Freaking bizarre, dude.
It
Bizarre.
is. It's nuts. It's insanity. It is to be this off the rails, because it's now, again, if this was the left that was doing this,
Yeah.
they would call us crazy.
Yeah.
They would not only be calling us crazy, they would be trying to institutionalize all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just because there's an R or a D next to somebody's name who, based on the statement that they're making, when all of us should be outraged. This is not, all of this money didn't just go to waste in the last 4 years of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It has been going on for decades, and all of us should be pissed.
Yeah. And look, they did try and institutionalize us, right? Through cancel culture. I mean, how many people?
Everybody else against us too.
Yeah, dude. They try to cancel everybody. They try to shut you down. They they investigated you. They freaking called you crazy. They, even got people fired from jobs. Right. All kinds of shit. I mean, look, I'll say this, I guess, for the first time on the air live, because I've never told this story, so I'm going to do it right now. And you remember, when we launched Americano Media, we launched on Sirius XM.
Yep.
Once we started getting traction and started getting headlines, from like Newsweek and NBC and, Washington Post and all these huge coverage, calling us, Fox News in Spanish, Fox News in Spanish. On LinkedIn, you can see who's looking at your profile.
Right.
And, the Democratic Hispanic Caucus had called for the DOJ and Homeland Security and the FBI to investigate conservative Hispanics and conservative Hispanic media. And, one day I check on LinkedIn, who's viewed you, and it says attorney at the Department of Justice. And I said, oh, fuck, here they come. They're going to fucking cancel us, know? And, kept my eyes on it, About a month and a half later, I see an attorney for the subcommittee in the House that was investigating this mis and disinformation. I said, okay, it's coming. It's coming. So, we started working pretty aggressively, with the launch of our app, so we could get people on our app. And, the opportunity to syndicate our content through Odyssey, through a local radio station in Miami, happened. And as we're finalizing that deal, all of a sudden I see, attorney, Office of General Counsel, Sirius XM, that had looked at my profile, and I said, fuck it, here they come, they're going to cancel us. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, we get a letter saying, we're going to cancel you on this date. And, and that's what they did, bro. Thank God, we had already planned our off ramp onto Odyssey, so that's what we did. But I've never told that story, publicly, and I'm telling it now because I didn't want to get, in trouble, right? And and it was the worst time. Everybody was trying to cancel you, and advertising didn't want to touch us. I mean, there's a whole bunch of shit. Now advertisers, are like, hey, when are you guys back? What's going on? And everybody's now is looking for that content, especially since Hispanics have moved to almost, virtually 50% of the country. So
and you need to ramp that back up, because that's a much needed voice that's got to be heard.
Yeah, but it takes money, and that was the hardest challenge, right? We were able to raise the money that we raised through friends and family. Never got any institutional money, VC or funds or whatever, or family offices. They just, didn't want to do it. But it is what it is, brother. It's in the past. But it's very clear on what's going on. Hey, Mr. Producer, why don't you show us some of those slides you got through there so we can walk through them?
I got that Twitter DM you sent me. The Elon tweet.
No. Go to the law enforcement ones. There are some on the ones that Jeff sent me.
Yeah, of course.
Because he wanted to go through those, and I think there's some important issues to discuss on those. So while we wait for the producer, Jeff, what do you think? Do you think the president is going to be able to get any traction on 2A, on constitutional carry on a federal level, nationwide?
Well, you're still going to have state resistance to that. Places like Illinois, California, New York. You're still going to have that resistance. But it's important to remember, I think, when voters are thinking about this, no matter how you feel about guns at all.
Yeah.
The Second Amendment is the only amendment in the entire Constitution that specifically directs the government to leave it alone.
Yeah.
You can't touch it.
Yeah.
Shall not be infringed is unambiguous.
Yeah, right. It's very clear. Give me 1 second. We got to go to commercial break real quick, and we'll come back with that thought. Cannot be infringed.
Yep.
Just like our friend Mike Lindell.
That's right.
Tee it up.
I'm trying to, but there's a lot of delay in the software.
I guess we're having technical issues. Maybe Mike Lindell is being infringed. So that is true, bro. It's very specific. So I don't understand how liberals can argue that it's not a guaranteed amendment.
Right. Yeah. We've always thought that the First Amendment, the right to free speech, right, is the most sacred of rights. But the Constitution does not say that the right to freedom of speech shall not be infringed.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do it. But
well, that's why there's that argument, right? That's why there's that argument that the Second Amendment backs the First Amendment, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. When you see where your force comes from and your projection of power, that's how you know which one is the most important.
Yep.
Because it allows you to continue to project that force for the protection of all the other amendments in that Constitution.
But I find it curious the order in it was, the right to free speech, and then boom, the right to bear arms. So it directly backs up the first, right?
100%. 100%.
100%. There's no doubt, but somehow, they think that there is. I know they were going to do something with automatic weapons, right? I know that's on the table about making them legal again, right?
Well, and the thing about suppressors, that's going to come back, and the bump stocks and all of these things that are fall under the NFA rules. Short barreled rifles and shotguns. All of this should be on the table for deregulation.
Yeah. Freaking crazy, bro. All right, do we have Mike, or is Mike being infringed?
We got it.
All right, let's go with Mike.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
All right. Oh, just sending Mike a screenshot of his ad running on our show. He loves that stuff, man. He's a true patriot. He's a good friend. Just a good guy, man. And what they did to him is just horrible, horrible, horrible.
And it shows you they can do it to anybody.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? The good Lord is on his side, and actually his business exploded because of that, you know? So, you know, you can't go against God.
No.
You just can't.
No.
You know, but hey, you know, but they try. I mean, liberals try and they believe it. And, you know, it's funny. I don't know if you watch Sean Ryan's show, the former SEAL. And, you know, he had an exorcist on. I've talked about this in the past. You know, and, you know, this exorcist is talking about, you know, demons and angels and all this. And, you know, Sean just celebrated his 3 years alcohol free and, you know, was saying how he's found, you know, God and faith and all this stuff. And, you know, really an important piece of his life. And he was asking the priest about, you know, demons and angels. And he goes, yeah, I mean, you know, 100% they exist. He goes, right now, we probably have at least 2 angels, one apiece, and there's probably 3 or 4 demons in the room. You know, and dude, the look on Sean's face was like horrific. You know, because he said, because he was talking about, you know, like going to those tarot card readers and all those people, and he goes, you should never do that. You should never try and contact the dead, because the only dead that you're going to be able to contact are demons. Because the good guys, they cross over and they go to heaven. They don't come back. They don't come back. And he goes, and people that say that, no, you know, I was talking to my mom or my grandmother, you know, and they said very specific things that only she would know or he would know. And he goes, that's because demons are present and they hear the same thing we hear. Yep. You know, so you know, they found the demon that knew your grandmother and heard all these conversations. And now he's coming across like your grandmother, and that's how possession begins. Yep. I was like, holy fuck, dude. Like the hair on my arms, on my head, I mean, everything was standing, dude. I got goosebumps. Yeah. And he goes, you know, you never, you know, in the past, listen to this, is, you know, really key. In the past, Satan and his demons were hiding. Right. Now, they're wide open. They're out in the open. They're you know, and you look at people, you know, and you're like, that's got to be a fucking demon. I mean, there's no other way.
Well, we know from Scripture, Satan is the ruler of this world.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So why would you be surprised that he has his little minions running around, you know, sticking their fingers in every little thing that comes along? Yeah. You know? I mean, and you know, Scripture also tells us, you know, that our ears are going to hear what they want to hear. We're going to have false teachers that are tickling our ears to tell us what we want to hear. That all comes straight from Satan.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's straight evil.
And you know, and using that as a preamble to my next question. You know, when they say, well, look at, you know, how many shootings and look at how many this and look at how many that. You know, it's not the gun, it's the individual. And most of these individuals are mentally disturbed, right? They're crazy. Yeah,
well, or just,
they're possessed,
you know,
right?
You know, otherwise evil, you know, for evil's sake. Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, I've carried a gun for, you know, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And it's never gone off and done anything of its own accord.
Yeah. You know, it didn't shoot itself.
It's never walked into the mall and started just randomly shooting.
Yeah. You
know, I mean, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. This is about the heart of man, which is, you know, inherently evil. Yeah. All of us. I mean, that's why we're born with a sin nature. You know, we're all inherently evil, and we have to find something that stands in for us, which is Jesus Christ. Yeah. You know, to atone for that evil that's in our lives. And
that's a good point that you bring up. I think if you don't accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I think you're in trouble, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's so many that don't, and so many that actually attack that and attack those like us that do accept that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and then they wonder why the fucking place is all fucked up, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's the bottom line.
All right, Mr. Producer, do you have your stuff ready? Let's see. There we go. Walk us through this, Jeff, or play the video.
Chief did not mince words. He is angry about a witness who appeared in one of our stories last night who claimed that he saw Flowood police shoot a suspect in the back who was trying to surrender. Today, he gave us a look at those dash cam images and an inside look at what he says really happened. A hail of bullets on Lakeland Drive at Treetops Boulevard Sunday just before 4 p.m. Authorities say Flowood police made a traffic stop. Flowood police released body and dash cam images of the incident to 16 WAPT. According to police, 18-year-old Jalen Robinson, booked just last month on a credit card fraud charge, jumped from the passenger side of that vehicle and took off running before turning to shoot a Flowood police officer.
Our officer attempted to tase him, but only one of the prongs stuck in him, so it doesn't lock him up like it normally would, and the suspect turned around and shot our officer in the stomach.
But a witness who didn't give his name.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff. All right.
Yeah. There's several problems with this. First of all, witnesses lie. They lie all the time, and that's why. I mean, what if that witness had been on camera somewhere? And does a 10-second video of I saw these officers shoot that man in the back when he was trying to surrender, and you've got a huge uproar. But you can go and look and see that picture right there. The officer is clearly at a disadvantage. He's standing basically over top of the guy, and the guy's got a gun out. If you're going to use a taser, then your backup had better be right there, ready to use deadly force. And this guy's backup, as you can see, was a long way off.
Yeah.
And so you can't assume that you can deploy a non-lethal weapon. You've got to have some control over the situation before you can say, all right, we have this situation contained. Now we don't have to use deadly force, right? We have options. Once we've contained it, we've got options. But when it's not contained, a taser is not your primary defense weapon here. You've got to have your handgun out, ready to engage this suspect until you get him contained and can step down your level of force. Thank God that officer was wearing a bulletproof vest and took around, to the torso that the vest stopped. That's the second time that an officer trying to engage with a suspect used a taser instead of his duty weapon. I think there was another story of a guy trying to clear a house with a taser. You don't clear a house with a taser.
Why is this going on, dude? It's a mandate from above, like you were saying, right?
I think there's this history of Monday morning quarterbacking every law enforcement decision that's ever made. There's a problem with everything being on video now that can be misconstrued because you only show 10 seconds of it rather than the full clip of what's going on. And you're letting these liberal groups, these anti-police groups, control the narrative.
Yeah.
And law enforcement's got to do a better job of controlling the narrative. Now, I do applaud the Flowood police chief of, immediately, getting back and saying, no, we didn't shoot him in the back. Here he is, with his weapon pointed at our officer.
Yeah.
So kudos to the Flowood police chief for that. But you got to train your guys better. You don't run a guy down that you don't have control of yet with a taser. Yeah. You just don't do it.
Dude, that's insane, dude. I mean, maybe I'm not, the right guy to be in law enforcement, so maybe thank God why I didn't end up there. Because I would have never used a fucking taser, dude. I would have fucking probably shot more fucking people. My style probably would have been more like fucking Harry Callahan than one of these guys, and I probably would have ended up locked up, I'm sure. But
you have to start when there's active resistance. You have to start with a level above whatever's going on. I mean, if the use of force continuum says that if I'm an officer and I'm engaged with you and you throw a punch, then throwing a punch back at you is not my option. That's when I escalate. All right. Am I going to use my baton? Am I going to use, my firearm? What am I going to use? But it's not going to be my fist, just like you're using your fist. Right.
But you can't just draw and fucking shoot him in the leg.
Well, no, you're always shooting center mass to neutralize.
No, I know, but I mean, if the guy's unarmed,
nobody trains
right?
to shoot somebody in the leg or the hand or shoot the gun out of their hand or anything like that. You shoot center mass.
No, but if the guy's
threat.
unarmed, right? If he doesn't have a gun, but he's this big fucking dude, and he's coming after you.
Then you can use deadly force if you feel like what what his skill level is plus his size and strength versus your skill level. Now you should be well trained in hand to hand tactics, but I mean, at some point, natural law takes over, right? And if, especially if, say, you're a 5'5" female who weighs 120 pounds, and you're dealing with a 6'5" 300-pound suspect, you're not going to go hands on with that guy.
No.
And so, depending on what his intent is, if he's aggressively coming at you, then that becomes a lethal force situation.
Yeah.
Because he can take your gun or some other weapon
and kill you.
And he's a threat to public safety. So you take him out.
Yeah, totally. Mr. Producer, what else you got?
Here we go.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. Walk us through this.
This, this gets me more than anything because this is, people who have public trust, who have sworn an oath, who are in just their own little, blue badge mafia, right? I mean, you've got you see this where it says dispatcher death?
Yeah.
The reason that dispatcher died was because he had access to the evidence room and was taking drugs while he was on duty. Died in his office.
Oh my God! Bro.
Right, and this story, and I don't know if the picture's in this story or not, but you can see the evidence room, and there's a hole in the wall, and they are reaching through with a broom handle to open the door from the inside.
Right there.
It is. Hole in the wall. They're taking this broom handle you can see in the corner there and opening the door to the evidence room so that they can just walk in and access narcotics or anything else that they want to access. I mean, you want to talk about not being able to present a case in court. Every piece of evidence that's in that room is tainted.
Everything's compromised now. I wonder how many cases are going to be thrown out. How many?
No.
Did you say 500?
I don't really know. I don't know how what their caseload is. I don't have any idea. I mean, they're a small town, but you have 5 indictments that come down there, and you have the district attorney and others saying now that this police department needs to be abolished. And so you abolish that police department.
So what happens? What happens if they get abolished? The sheriff's office steps in?
Yeah, the sheriff's office takes over. So now you've just doubled the load on the sheriff's office because they've got to not only patrol their county, but now your town as well. So you're creating an undue burden on the public. And this goes back to oversight. Yeah. This goes back to oversight. This is what we're talking about. All right, let's go back to George Floyd. Yeah. Right? It doesn't matter how you feel about George Floyd. Does not matter.
Yeah.
But you had 19 excessive force complaints against that officer, whose name escapes me right now. Derek Chauvin. Mm-hmm. You got 19 excessive force complaints against that guy. All right. You've got a police chief. You've got a mayor. And you've got a district attorney, who the district attorney, by the way, was Amy Klobuchar. Not following up and doing their job. You know what? If they had done their job in any one of those 19 excessive force complaints, George Floyd would be alive today. Yeah. He would. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. And so you've got oversight. If you have, we were talking earlier about proper training for law enforcement, right? Well, if you're not doing proper training, then what happens is you've got these guys who are not well trained, who are there for a long time and eventually get promoted up the ranks, right? And all of a sudden now an untrained officer is your chief administrator, right? So he's not holding anybody accountable because nobody ever held him accountable. And now you've created an entire culture of a department all the way from the top down that doesn't follow any rules. And that's what happens when you wind up with a situation like Hansville. Because the chief of police was one of those who was indicted.
So question. What's the difference between a sheriff's office and I guess police?
Well, the sheriff is an
Countywide,
elected
right?
official.
Well,
He's
the
a politician.
sheriff's office has countywide, right? Versus
Yeah, yeah, and the primary function of the sheriff's office is not law enforcement; it's to serve the courts. They administer the jail. They administer the courts. They provide court security. They serve the court's papers. So if you got a civil paper, somebody's suing somebody, or somebody's getting evicted, or you've got a bench warrant that comes out from the judge, then the sheriff's office, their mandate is to go and handle those papers and serve the court, right? But most sheriff's offices have a law enforcement function as well, and they patrol the unincorporated areas of the county and handle that.
well, like down here in Miami-Dade, it was a sheriff's office, and they were sued for years and paid a fine not to use sheriff's office, right? And it was always Miami-Dade PD, and recently, starting this year, now they're Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office. But I don't think their scope has changed because they have helicopters, narcotics, they have investigation units, they have canines.
Well, yeah,
everything.
they've got all of that. And especially in a place as big as Miami, they're going to have all of those things. Los Angeles, the L.A. Sheriff's Office. I mean, Los Angeles is a big place, right? And they've got their own TAC team and specialized units. All of these places generally have both a sheriff's office and a municipal police department.
Interesting.
But the police mandate is the law enforcement function.
It's not a beer. It's not a beer. It's not 3 o'clock yet. It's not a beer.
Yeah, and this is not bourbon. It's actually ginger ale.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, but I like this Pepsi, dude, because it doesn't have the fake sugar. It's got real sugar.
Yeah.
Like the Mexican Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But yeah, we even though I shouldn't be drinking soda.
Straight from the sugar cane.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But But anyways, Mr. Producer, can we go to the next slide, or are we having technical glitches still?
All right, we gotta make it quick.
All right, let's go.
This is really impressive. This is a long video. It's about 10 minutes, so you don't need to play it.
Do you want to play the beginning or something, or is there a shot?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, go. Walk us through.
Well, you can play the first couple of minutes here. What you're going to see is officers responding to a call here of somebody who's mentally disturbed.
All right, walk us through for Jeff.
Yeah, so you're seeing this. These officers have gathered up to go find a guy who is having some kind of mental health crisis, and they're getting organized about how they're going to find and approach this guy, and all of a sudden they see him and they make their approach, and so you're going to see him. There's a couple of officers here, I think about 3 officers, and they go up and they go up here to make contact with this guy, and you're going to see him in a minute as they're talking to him. He pulls a weapon and opens fire.
Holy crap! You're kidding me.
Now, all right. So you got the sergeant. He's looking around. He's checking things out. He's got 2 other officers. Maybe there's another guy back there in the back.
He's totally surrounded.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Officer down.
The sergeant takes a round to the leg. He's shot in the left hip.
All right, kill it.
In the exchange of gunfire.
Yep.
What's impressive here is that, and the suspect, because all 3 of the officers returned fire, they killed the suspect on the scene. But what you have here is very impressive. Is this sergeant maintained his situational awareness and his composure to the point that he directed other officers to get a tourniquet on him. Stanch the bleeding. He's directing them how to continue to cover the suspect and give the suspect, try and give him commands. Hands out. Let us see your hands. Let us get up there and make an approach so that we can take care of you.
Yeah.
And so he's doing that while he's tending his own wound, and guiding his subordinates.
So that's good training, man.
Yeah, I mean that guy was outstanding. Kudos to Albuquerque Police Department Sergeant Brandon Watts.
All right, kudos to him. Big shout out from Jeffrey Queen.
Yeah, that big shout out to Sergeant Watts there. And maintained radio conversation. He was able to tell dispatch, I'm hit. We're tending my wounds. Suspect is down. We're setting up a perimeter. Here, you go here, you go here. Just maintain complete control of the scene. Really impressive work by Sergeant Watts. That's a good training program there in Albuquerque.
All right, cool. Are we ready for Mike Lindell?
We should.
All right, let's see him up. There we
I'm
go.
excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
All right, Mike Lindell, man. Remember, use promo code IGH. You get that big discount. He's a solid supporter of the show and just a good guy. So, Jeff, continue, please.
Yeah, that's again, we talk about training.
Yeah.
That department clearly is doing a good job training their supervisors, and just making it clear that they know what they're doing. They're able to maintain the scene. They've got great bearing. That's so important to maintain your bearing, when things are going bad. And because that's when, if you don't maintain your bearing, then that's when you get excessive force. That's when you get those complaints that law enforcement is acting inappropriately. There's not a thing in the world you can say watching that video about them doing anything inappropriately. They killed a suspect right there on the scene, and it was all done, as textbook as you can do it. During the gunfight, the officer's wounded and still manages to do everything right. That's impressive.
Yeah. Going back to concealed carry, you see so many videos of this famous punch out where these kids are walking down the street and they just fucking hammer somebody, cold cock them. Mm-hmm. Or, on metro rides where they come up and snatch purses and shit from people. If criminals knew that everybody was packing, don't you think crime would go down?
I do. I mean, you go back to the old West, right? I mean, everybody's wearing a gun. You couldn't call a man a liar. You couldn't call a man a coward.
Yeah.
Because everybody had to depend on those guys. You spoke politely because you knew if what you said, let alone what you did, creates a problem that means that nobody trusts you anymore, then they're not gonna, again, we talked about this country's founded on bold individuals.
Yeah.
But, at some point, one bold individual can't hold off a tribe of hostiles, right?
Yep.
And so you have to depend on each other to create that basis of security. And that's what we need to go back to today. That's why the Second Amendment was created. It is so that we can band together as citizens to protect ourselves from, just overwhelming evil. And that's what the whole entire Second Amendment is about. It's not about arms are only for militias. The whole point of that is that because an organized militia is necessary for the security of the free state, that same militia, organized, can do whatever they want to the individual people in that free state, and they are become the rule of law. So that's why it's important for individual citizens to be able to keep and bear arms. It's about being able to have the same ability to defend yourself as the government has to attack you.
Correct.
That's what the Second Amendment is about.
So we saw something happening in Mexico yesterday. I wanted to bring this up because it's right up your alley on the law enforcement things, and especially dealing with the cartels. saw the president naming 6 organizations, cartels.
Eight.
To
Eight organizations.
Yep, 8 of them to the terrorist list, which changes the game because that means now if they're international terrorists, we can go and take them out directly. The Mexican president has pushed and is pushing to pass a legislation, limiting or to try and block the United States from engaging the cartels. Which
Right.
We've talked about this for years with our friend Robert Arce as well.
Sure.
Who's very familiar with the cartels, and there you go. And there's been a long-standing rumor that every cabinet of every administration in the Mexican government, for at least a couple of decades, have had somebody that is connected to one of the cartels. And
I don't know why that would be surprising. I mean, you see, British Parliament's got people that are connected to Islamic terrorism.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, why would that be a surprise?
But the thing with this though is, I don't think Trump is going to give a shit what Mexico does with their legislation. If the cartels attack, our border or our border patrol or one of our troops, I think Trump is going to drop the fucking hammer and just blow them to smithereens. I mean, you've heard Homan clearly say that. You've heard Governor Nome say that. And, the president hasn't come out and said it, but I think, maybe even J.D. Vance, or I think even Marco Rubio has said that, right? So,
well, let's go back to this. We talked about this last time, and terrorism is nothing but criminal enterprise writ large.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're committing a crime, then we're going to stop you from committing a crime. It would be the same thing as anybody anywhere saying, we're going to commit this crime and you don't have the right to stop us. Well, yeah, we do. And so if your government is not going to take care of the problem, and we've seen this, we saw it in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah.
We went in there without any qualms about knocking over a hostile government.
Right.
So if you're going to be right on our border, on our doorstep, and you're not going to cull your own nuts, then we're going to do that for you.
Yeah. How easy or how complicated do you think that would be to take out a cartel? A lot of people are like, we would walk in there, doing jumping jacks and have.
Well,
I don't know if it would be that easy, dude, because they hire mercs and they have a whole bunch of people, right?
We've had this conversation offline, and they hire mercenaries. The difference is that, you go into Afghanistan, it's a much harder get, right? Because those people are ideologically motivated.
Yeah.
You hire mercenaries, they're just guns for hire, and when the heat gets on them, they're going to go find an easier way to make a paycheck, right?
That's what I think. I think they're going to scram if they see, a couple SEAL teams show up fully strapped.
You're not going to have to send battalions in like we did in Afghanistan. You're going to send some special ops guys across the border who are already, by the way, monitoring these cartels.
Yeah.
They know where they are. They just got the leashes on them right now.
Yeah.
Well, you let the leash go, and the guard dog goes out and does what the guard dog's supposed to do.
Yep. And we got some good dogs too, by the way, and they like to fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is not their first rodeo. They've been there and done things that you've never heard of, you've never seen. It doesn't get publicized. So when all of a sudden you see, a cartel compound that's just up in smoke and nobody knows anything, I think you pretty well understand what happened.
By calling that out, Jeff, and there's been a lot of conversation about this. Is this Trump setting up the annihilation of the cartels? Because we know he's super anti-drugs. He lost his older brother, I think it was Fred, to alcohol and drugs, and he's very, very, very anti-drugs. He hates drugs with a passion. Do you think this is him signaling, I'm fucking gonna kill them now?
I think it very well could be.
Because he's got 4 years. He's got 4 years, and then it's over, dude. So this is his only shot to get rid of them and exterminate them forever, right?
And we know how Trump operates.
Yeah.
He's a negotiator. He will make a deal with you, to get it done. I mean, he's a businessman, right? And he knows how to do this, but he also is no nonsense. And he says, all right, well, if you're not gonna deal, if you're not going to do it, then we are going to go ahead and do what's the right thing to do, and that's the way to protect our
Dude,
sovereignty.
but do you really think
right?
the fucking Mexicans, dude, are going to take out the fucking cartels? Fuck no.
No. And so we're going to have to, and so that's what I say. I think that very well this could be a lead up to doing that.
That's
and
what
he's
I
going to
think,
tell
bro.
them, look, you can do this way, or you can do it that way, and you have a choice.
So you
have
think
a
he's gonna give him an option? Stop sending shit over here, and
Yeah.
I'll leave you fucking alone.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and we do that in law enforcement too. We give
Yeah.
everybody an option. If you're in a vehicle pursuit and you set up a roadblock, you give them the option of
Stop.
passing through. You don't just block the road completely where their only choice is to ram your cars. Now, hopefully, if you've done it right, you got stop sticks set up, and so when they go through the gap, they blow
pop.
the tires,
Yeah.
and and you can de-escalate the situation. But you always give them an option for de-escalation.
Yep, I agree.
And Donald Trump is no different than anybody else. The difference between Donald Trump and the Democrats is the Democrats never gave him any option for escalation.
Yeah, that's true too. So give us a war story, man. One of your favorites. I know we always like to ask you for a war story. I forgot to ask you to have one ready, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah. So let's go back and talk about tasers, right?
Yeah.
And so we had a call. One of the guys on the shift with me went to a house, and supposedly this woman was outside with 22 shooting into the air over the neighbor's house. So he goes up and talks, finds out what's going on, and he goes next door to talk to this lady. And when he knocks on the door, she shows up in the window with a couple of butcher knives.
Holy shit.
Now, I mean, there was no lethal force there. I mean, she's inside behind a window.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So
crazy.
he's
Obviously disturbed.
Yeah, so he's trying to get a hold of her and talk to her, and she's not engaging. And so I go up there to back him up, and it's not long before another deputy shows up, and then the sergeant shows up, and the sergeant says, "Well, let's go and see. Apparently, we've got a committal order on this lady. She's got a mental health committal order."
There you go.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Let's go in here and do it. So I walk around the house, and I have what I call my handy dandy entry tool, which is basically a pry bar. And so I walk around and I find a window that's unlocked in the back. And so I pop the window, and so I go inside, and I've got my weapon out, right? I'm clearing the house as much as I can to go from this room back to the front door
Yeah.
with my weapon. I get the front door open and everybody else comes in. So we've been announcing ourselves. I announced when I went through the window, "Hey, sheriff's office." We work our way in. We get everybody else in, and now I'm the only one with a taser. So I said, "All right, I got the taser," but immediately beside me was another officer with his pistol out.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're going through in tandem, and we're clearing it in tandem. And we get all the way through the house, everything's clear. We get all the way to the back bedroom. And when you stand in the bedroom door, the bed's kind of across from you and on the left a little bit. Immediately on the wall to the left is a closet. Immediately on the wall in the back corner to the right is what looks like a walk-in closet, but immediately inside there is a slightly open door that looks like a bathroom. So we clear the room, we've checked under the bed, we've checked the closet, and then we start towards the big walk-in closet. And here she comes out of the bathroom door, and she's got her 2 butcher knives raised up. Now, she's not running at us. She's standing there, and she's screaming at us, and I'm telling her, "All right, drop the knives, or I'm going to tase you." Now, we got this situation contained, right?
Yeah.
She's not going. She can't go anywhere. We've got her covered with both lethal and non-lethal force. We've got 4 deputies to her 1 person with 2 butcher knives. Just drop the knives. We've got this contained. And she takes another step, and I said, "Ma'am, if you take one more step, I'm going to tase you." Well, she took another step, and I fired, and the taser hit dead center, and each taser prong went in her boobs. I shot her in the tits with a taser.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And she dropped both knives, and she kind of fell back against the wall, and I told her, I said, get down on the ground. Just get down on the ground. Well, she didn't do that. She tried to pick the knives back up, so I pulled the trigger on the taser because the probes were still attached.
Right.
So when I did that, she fell over on the bed. And when she fell over on the bed, one of the other deputies that didn't have his weapon out ran over there and threw him on top of her in her bed.
Yep.
And the sergeant turned and looked at me, and he said, "Boy, he got up there so fast, it's like he'd been in bed with her before."
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. And and there you go, another successful arrest with nobody dead, right? So
nobody dead. We took her and we got her, the down to the mental health facility, and we got her some help. And I don't know whatever happened, what the disposition of it was after that, but yeah, I mean, the taser works when used properly.
Yeah.
Right. But you've got to contain the scene, and you got to have lethal force coverage, and then the taser works. And other than shooting her in the boobs, it worked to perfection.
Absolutely. Hey, so we've seen videos, everybody's seen them 100 times, where there's a deputy with a gun, and there's somebody coming after him, and he's like, don't take any more steps, back up, and they never back up, and the deputy keeps on backing up, yeah. And then he ends up fucking stabbed or killed. Yeah. What the fuck, dude? I mean, at what point do you do that, or at what point do you just shoot the guy? Right?
Well, if I tell you to stop and you don't stop, and I tell you to stop again and you don't stop, you're going to catch a bullet. I mean, you
back all legally you can do that, right?
It becomes a bigger public safety issue. What if he backs you into a crowd and then he starts stabbing everybody?
Yep. So when does it become legal for you to shoot the guy with the knife?
When he's coming at me.
Okay, so you don't even have to tell him to stop. You can just shoot him.
Yeah. I mean, if you're coming at me with a knife, I'm going to shoot you. But for me, and hopefully for, again, a training issue, you tell them to drop the knife, but if they don't, there's nothing anywhere that says you have to, go through a certain number of thresholds before you're actually allowed to shoot somebody. If you're in a lethal force situation, you shoot somebody.
And that's what I don't understand about the liberal left, that says, oh, the guy had a gun, he had a, and the perp had a knife, he didn't have to kill him. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
If you have a deadly weapon in your hand, it's a deadly weapon, no matter what anybody else has.
Yeah.
I can have a freaking bazooka. If you got a knife and you can use it right, you can still get me.
Yeah. And you can shoot that bazooka at him.
Yeah, if you've got a deadly force instrument, then you are initiating deadly force, and you respond to deadly force with deadly force.
All right, so 2 questions. What is it? The Castle Act or Castle Law?
Castle Doctrine. Stand your ground. Yeah.
Yep. Right. So tell us about that. What does that mean for regular folks?
Well, if you're in a place you have the right to be, then you don't have to back down before you use lethal force. If somebody's coming in your house, you don't know why they're there, and they don't have a right to be there, and you tell them, "Hey, get out," and they start coming at you and say, "No, I'm not getting out." You can shoot them.
And that only applies to your home, or it applies to business, et cetera, et cetera.
If you're in a public place and you have the right to be there, and somebody is a threat to public safety and is endangering your life or the life of other people around you, then you have the right to use deadly force.
And okay, so here's another question. If there is a situation like that, right, and you draw, like the stand your ground law, how exactly does stand your ground work? Because I understand that once you have or the person knows that you're armed, you have to protect the weapon, right? Including deadly force.
Right? Hopefully you if you're going to train, then you don't need to just train at putting holes in paper. You need to train on weapon retention. You need to be able to deflect. If you've got your weapon out and the suspect comes right up on you to engage, if you don't have a clear, safe shot, if you're in the middle of a big crowd, all of a sudden that runs up on you to look and see, and everybody's got their phone out. Well, you don't want to be just firing rounds, randomly. So you've got to practice weapon retention. You've got to practice offhand combatives where you can put your hand up and try to manipulate the suspect away from you to get yourself a clear shot, right? But there's nothing that says you have to put your gun up and flee, if you're in a stand your ground situation.
And part of standing your ground is also defending the weapon, right? You can't.
Yeah.
You have to defend the weapon.
Yeah, but that should be standard for anybody that's going to carry a weapon anywhere.
Yep.
That you've got to defend. Even if you got to defend your weapon, even if you don't draw it.
Correct, and that's what I was trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody's coming for your weapon, you can use deadly force to protect the weapon.
Absolutely, because you don't want them to have your gun.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you got to shoot, where do you shoot?
Center mass.
Okay, what does that mean for people?
Torso area, up here, the biggest target you got. Right.
So you don't sit there and pretend you're doing a video game and go for headshots, right?
Right. No, you don't, unless you've been trained to shoot headshots regularly in a combat situation, military sniper or something, no, you shoot at the biggest part of the target that's coming at you.
And how many shots?
However many it takes to neutralize the threat.
Okay. So you don't sit there and just shoot once. You don't shoot once and wait to see what happens.
No. If you've got a 15-round magazine and you shoot 7 times and the guy's still coming at you, then shoot 8.
Yeah.
Shoot 9. Shoot 10. Whatever it takes to stop this guy, from coming at you or other people.
Yep. And that's why that sheriff is like, if you want to be shot, we're going to shoot you, and we're going to shoot you a lot.
Yeah.
And, and I've always believed that. That's the way I got trained as well. Is you don't stop until the person's down, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's what a lot
neutralize.
Of people,
even if they're down and they've still got their weapon and they're still a threat, they're trying to engage you with their weapon, then you shoot again.
Yeah.
It does. Down is not the qualifier.
Yeah.
It's whether they're capable of carrying out a threat or not.
Yeah.
That's the qualifier.
Interesting. That's very important for people to understand that, right? Because you see it in movies. Even it's a movie, but they shoot the guy once, the person falls down, and still with the gun, and they go hug each other, and oh my god, we're safe, and then the fucking guy turns around and fucking kills them. It's like, what? What the fuck did you just do? Why don't you just empty the whole fucking mag? You should have an extra mag anyways, at least one, right?
Well, you might want to go get that. If the guy goes down and the gun's laying beside him, go get the gun.
Yeah.
If he still has the capacity to pick that gun up, your threat's not neutralized.
Yeah.
Now, if you go get the gun while he's down, you don't come back over there and he's still alive. Oh, let me put one between his eyes. No, then you start rendering aid.
So realistically, that's why you have bigger caliber, right? But people can survive 9, and they can survive several 9s. Can they survive a point blank from a 40, a 45, a 10 mil?
People don't die because of the caliber they've been shot. They die because of the amount of blood loss.
Right.
That happens. And so if I shoot you with 145 or 3 9s, you're still going to be losing blood. Now, does 145 put out more blood than 3 9s? Maybe not. I don't, but it's a bigger hole.
Yeah.
But that's what kills you in a gunfight is blood loss.
Yeah. Well, I think if you shoot somebody square in the chest, you're going to blow up their heart, so they're dead anyways, right?
Yeah, if you hit a major organ, major blood vessel, you hit the femoral artery, and they bleed out faster, shoot them in the neck, hit the carotid, something like that. People are going to bleed out, but caliber doesn't really have anything to do with that. It's bullet placement and the amount of damage that's done.
That's interesting to know. So why the differentiator in the caliber? I mean, I know the story on why the FBI moved from 38s to I think the 40s or 45s.
Yeah, 1986 Miami shootout. Yeah.
Yep. Right. So if caliber is not a difference, then why'd they do that?
Well, because most of them had 38 caliber revolvers that only had 6 shots.
Yeah.
right? And people.
So tell us about that story, because not a lot of people know that story.
People who don't know about guns maybe don't understand. They think a 38 is much bigger than a 9mm. The bullet diameter is actually identical.
Yeah.
A 9mm is essentially a 38 caliber bullet, just loaded differently in a different cartridge. Part of that was.
So tell us a story. Tell us a story. Do you remember the story?
I don't remember all of these.
It was like bank robbers and all that crap.
Yeah, it was bank robbers. They were actually out looking for them.
Yep.
They were actively looking for these guys and expecting them to hit a certain location, and they actually found them at a little bit different location, I think, and so everybody had to try and scramble from one spot to the other, and they wound up with a couple of agents following the guys, trying to get to them, and the guys recognized that they were being followed, and so a shootout escalated, but
and it was close. It was like car to car, right?
Yeah,
which is crazy. I'm seeing if the Mr. Producer, can find a video clip on it. It was insane, dude.
Yeah, but what you had was one guy who was responding had already taken his gun out of his holster and had it in his lap, and when he came up on the scene and got hit with the vehicle, his gun flies out of his lap and lands in the floorboard. Now he's unarmed in the center of the fight.
Yeah.
So you had guys that were just underarmed.
Yeah.
Right. They were not well armed.
And the other guys were using high fucking
high capacity weapons.
High capacity weapons, right?
Semi-automatic rifles. One guy had a shotgun in his trunk and managed to go and get that and put rounds downrange with a shotgun, but at that point he was already wounded too.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, one of the bank robbers took a fatal round that did not incapacitate him, and so he continued to shoot until he bled out.
That's amazing.
This is exactly what we're talking about here. The guy takes a fatal round, but it does not incapacitate him.
All right, so
that's why you got to keep shooting.
Question for you: do you prefer a shotgun or you prefer a semi-automatic?
Well,
not handgun, but rifle, right?
Well, their functions are different, right?
Right, but if you're in your house.
No, if I'm in my house, I got a locked and loaded AR.
Yeah, so that would be your go-to versus a shotgun or something.
Yeah, it's right beside my bed.
Yeah, because you got more rounds in it, right? You got at least 30.
And today's gun of choice.
Oh, the SIG, the Legion.
That's the P320 TAC Ops.
Nice. This is mine right here.
Yes, sir.
We got the same light on it too.
Yeah, TLR1.
Yeah. They make the best. I like this one because this one gives me a laser. So it gives me a light and it gives me a laser,
Right. Yep.
So, I can use both, which is really cool. And this one, this one just, this has got a laser.
That's in the grip.
Yeah, in the grip. I like this one.
Yeah, Crimson Trace. Yep.
Yes, Crimson. Yep. Like those, but yeah, man, I always forget that you're a SIG guy too.
Yeah.
You've always liked SIG, right?
I do. I've got a 365 as well.
Oh, that's is that your concealed carry?
That's the little micro 9. Yeah, depending on where I am and what I'm doing, I change magazines because it's got a 12-round magazine.
It's got a 21 round.
It's got an extended 10-round magazine, and it's got a flush fit 10-round magazine. So if I want deep cover, then I put the flush fit 10 in.
Wow, Mr. Producer, did you find a video on that story or no?
No.
All right, whatever, that's fine. So, quick question before we go, because I know we got to wrap it up. Gun manufacturers. How would you rate them? How would you see them? I know Glocks are very popular. I have a couple. I have, Smith & Wesson. You got, obviously your SIGs. You got your, there's all kinds, right?
Yeah. There's a ton of reputable companies out there, and you've named all of them. And, Colt is owned by CZ now, and they make good guns. I don't have any experience with the Colts that are manufactured under the CZ brand. But you can get a quality firearm from any of those manufacturers, and I tell people all the time, there's not any one that's better than any of the others.
You don't think so?
Until you find the one that's best for you. I mean, if SIG has a certain grip, the Smith and Wesson, the Shields
Yeah.
and things have a certain grip.
Yeah.
FN's got a certain grip. All of these guns have different grips. If you can't find one that fits your hand, then I can tell you all day that SIG is the best gun manufacturer out there, right? Yeah. I can tell you that Smith and Wesson is the best gun manufacturer out there. But if that gun doesn't fit your hand so that you can safely and accurately manipulate that weapon, then it's useless to you.
I have a Smith and Wesson MMP 2.0, 10 mil. It's dude, the grip on that thing is amazing. You could have mud, slime, Vaseline on your hands or whatever, and dude, you cannot lose grip of that.
Yeah, FN is the same way though.
Yeah, FN. Yeah, David has an FN.
Tacticals, those FN tacticals got a fantastic grip on them.
Yeah, that's David's everyday carry too. Yeah, look at that grip.
All right, this has been stippled.
Yeah,
right. I mean, this is very aggressively textured.
Yeah.
So you want something that's that's comfortable in your hand, that you can hang on to in the middle of a firefight. Whatever's going on, and so if I take you, and in fact, I had just a little while ago. A friend of mine texted me and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you this evening about going and getting a new gun." I said, "Absolutely." So you want what works for you. You got big hands, you got small hands. I mean, I'm not a tall guy, but I got big hands. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I like a bigger grip gun.
Yeah, that's why I could never get into the G19. Right, the Glock 19. It was just too small. My pinky was always in the air.
Right. Yep.
And I felt like I didn't have a good grip on the gun,
Right.
So that's why that's why I go with the 20 with the full size.
Well, I had a Kimber Ultra Carry 2, the little 3-inch 1911 45 caliber, but the grip was too short on it.
Yeah.
And so I went and got an extended magwell. I won't say who from, but they make really quality aftermarket magwells. And so I had magwell. It added, almost half an inch, to the overall grip on the gun. And now I absolutely love that little 1911. It's fantastic.
Yeah, this is what I have here in this Glock for this. So the 19X is actually, it's got the frame of a 17, so full size, but it's got the barrel of a 19. And if I put this mag in that's extended, look how much gets extended,
Right. And now you extend. So it used to be guys would put, oversized magazines.
Yeah, you have
Glock first came out, you'd have a 30-round magazine, and it was just the magazine hanging out the bottom. And then Glock started adding the grip extensions and the magazine extensions that fit flush up into the grip, so it just becomes an extension of the grip.
Correct.
And, that was really smart manufacturing by gun manufacturers to allow you to have extra rounds in your weapon and not lose any of the grip, of handling and manipulating the weapon. And again, it doesn't matter how good I shoot with my SIG. If you can't use it to put rounds on target downrange, then you need a different gun.
All right, so now this is the last question. I keep on saying, one more question before we go, and here we are going on an hour and a half, I think. People train when you go to the range, and they're like, "Oh, I can shoot 200 yards, 300 yards." What's a real? I mean, this is what I do personally. I practice from 5 to 20. That's it.
Yeah, most gunfights are going to. Nobody is getting in a gunfight with their neighbor, and their neighbor's hiding behind their house half a block away, shooting at you while you're hiding behind your house.
Yeah, dude, you call the fucking police. Yeah,
gunfights happen in very close proximity.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you saw the video. Yep. You saw the video of the Albuquerque sergeant getting shot. Yep. That gunfight took place
3 feet.
It started, maybe 3 or 4 feet, and it extended, as they're retreating and he's retreating. It eventually goes to probably 20 feet.
What did you practice? What did you practice at range? What do you practice at today? What do you recommend, civilians to practice at a real range?
I think civilians, anything beyond 7 yards is going to be, 21 feet is going to be, detrimental to you, until you get comfortable with your weapon. And,
so 5 to 20
with a weapon
is
and you
right.
can hit targets, that are right in front of you, then you can start expanding out and building your skill set.
Yep. So start short, 5 to 20 feet.
Yeah, I would say no, when I take somebody to the range,
Yeah.
and you send the target out there, and they've got lines
The
on
lines,
the floor
yeah.
that
Yeah.
delineate various things. I always put it out there to the closest line.
To 5 yards.
That may be a little bit closer than 5 feet. Probably generally closer to 10, maybe 10 feet.
Yeah.
But I think that's plenty to get started. You can get a good sight picture. You can put rounds on target, and you can find out what sort of errors you've got, right? And then work on correcting those.
Like
things.
if it goes to the left, what does that mean? A lot of people don't know that.
If it goes to the left, you got too. You're pushing too far.
Yeah.
And you don't
trigger.
have enough finger on the trigger because you're pushing in too far. If it's going to the right, you got too much finger in the trigger. You just want to have that tip of your finger right there on the trigger. And
so you shoot with the finger, with the tip, not with the finger. Right.
Right. Yeah. The finger is just a mechanism, to pull the tip back.
Yeah.
That's it.
There you go. You just heard it from the man. Law Enforcement Fridays is back. You want to comment? You want to send Jeffrey Queen a tweet? You want to talk? You want him to bring up any issues at all? Hit him up on X, Jeffrey Queen, hashtag LEF, Law Enforcement Fridays. Make sure you put in your questions. You got a week starting now.
Yep. We'll answer them. Always a pleasure to be with you, Ivan.
Brother, it's glad to have Law Enforcement Fridays back. What a better way to finish the week than to talking about security, talking about protecting ourselves, our family, our loved ones, and protecting our country. Jeff, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it, buddy. See you soon.
Take care. Yep. All right, guys. Hopefully you had a great time. You learned some things. And like we said, we wanted to kick this off again. Back when we had Battleground, we used to do it every Friday, Law Enforcement Fridays. Me and Jeff would kind of have these conversations, open dialogues, and we would bring in guests too. He would bring in, former law enforcement partners or people or, narcotics guys or gang guys or, bring other fellows and make it a really fun conversation. So, we're bringing that back. Law Enforcement Fridays is back and it's here to stay now under IGH going rogue. We'll see you next week. We got a fucking hell of a fucking lineup next week, including the pot lobbyist, including the doctor who is considered anti-vaxxer, but now I guess she was so right about so many things. So we'll see you next week. Get ready.